Yeah, I think they'd go through some sort of identity crisis. They wouldn't know where they belong. The world they
They
viewed is
wouldn't really
suddenly
know what to
crashing
believe
down.
in. If
Do you have a belief that you hold that you want to discuss?
Do I have a belief? I don't have any real original beliefs. I guess
Uh,
I've been listening to a lot of. Do you know Alan Watts? Like, he's a British philosopher.
I am not familiar with them, no.
He had a lot of talks in the '60s that were recorded, and they're all available on YouTube for free at the moment. Uh, I guess that's the most interesting thing I can talk about. He just has a sort of belief that everyone is the universe in that kind of brutal, straight up sense, and that all life is meaningless, but it's a good thing. It's like a game to play, and nothing you can do is right or wrong because right or wrong doesn't exist. You know.
That is
That's
interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Hmm. Can you
I
elaborate?
never
Like,
really heard that.
Yeah, everything I'm saying is like not my opinion. Is well, I say not my opinion. It is kind of my opinion, but it's not like my original thought. It's just stuff that I'm parroting from Alan Watts or parroting badly. I guess in the sense that like nothing could be right or wrong is you can't make a mistake as there's there's nothing to mistake over. We're just because we're conscious doesn't mean we're any different than like a tree or a plant pot. Like if you saw a cloud and it's in a weird shape, you wouldn't go, "The cloud's the wrong shape," because there is no right or wrong shape for a cloud. And just like
hmm.
any decision we make, there is no right or wrong decision. If it had good consequences or bad, either way, it happened, and there's no like right or wrong label to associate with it. If that makes any sense whatsoever, I'm just kind of rambling there.
It does, it does.
it does.
Yeah, I think I understand kind of what you're putting down for the most part. Like, but I want to take it to another level. Let's say that I walk outside and I see this guy walking down the street just minding his own business. If I were to pull out a gun and shoot him in the head, would I be doing something that was right or doing something that was wrong, or wouldn't it matter at all?
Um,
It would
it,
upset me. Sorry.
Hmm.
Do you want to speak?
yeah, yeah. Go on, go on.
So it wouldn't
Uh,
necessarily be right or wrong. It would just be upsetting to you.
I. It sounds really bad when you put it like
It does.
but ultimately, everything everything ends up in the same place. We're all the same thing. So in the it sounds so bad in the grand scheme of things. There's not a right or wrong to apply to it. In like a moral sense, it would be wrong, and an
Mm-hmm.
ethical sense, it would be wrong. But in like an ultimate sense, it's meaningless. Everything's meaningless. It's not something I'd ever do or want to do.
Right. Right. So I guess kind of it boils down to the Earth eventually is all going to, you know, not eventually lose all of its life, and it really doesn't matter what we do now because everything's gonna die and come to an end.
Not necessarily that everything. I mean, we're all gonna die and come to an end, but like the universe is it's still gonna be eternal. Maybe I don't know. I don't know much about the beginning of the universe. There are theories that it's expanding and it's gonna bounce back and like another big bang, and it's just gonna be repeating over and over again for eternity.
It's
But I think
confusing.
like yeah, we will become the universe. We are the universe. At least that's
Hmm.
what I'm trying to make myself believe as much as I can.
Why do you
It's
want
not
to
that
convince yourself
sense
of
of
that?
death. I just think it's a really beautiful idea that I don't know, everything is the universe and we're all one in a very sad hippie sense.
Ah. How about this? So, do you think something being beautiful is a good reason to believe in something?
No.
No, it's not.
Do you think something being beautiful makes it any more truthful?
No, it doesn't.
Then is there another reason why you want to believe that?
It kind of makes sense. No, in a weird way. It sounds right to me.
It makes
Well, I
sense to
mean,
you.
something being beautiful is a reason that would make me want to believe it. It doesn't make it necessarily true, but
Okay.
it's a reason to make people want to believe things.
Do
I
you
mean,
want to?
there's
Do you
nothing
want?
that can be certain, but
Sure.
if everything's uncertain, then pick the beautiful fact.
Do you want to believe in things that just because they're beautiful, or do you want to believe in things because they're truthful?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd want like an entirely brutal, truthful world, where, as in like a world where everyone says the truth to everyone. Like, at least that's what I'm picturing now. Like some cold, factful way, where everyone's just like saying facts. Like, you're wearing clothes today. Yes, yes I am. And everyone walks around and is like, the sky is blue. Yes, the sky is blue.
I think you may have confused what I was really asking, perhaps.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think we should go outside and, like, if I see someone who I find unattractive, I'm not going to walk up to them and be like, hey, you're really ugly, you know? Or like, hey, you are the
Now
most
you
beautiful
did.
woman alive. Can we make sexual relations now? No, I'm not. I don't think we should live in a world like that. Because that'd be kind of wild, right? But I mean, in the
It was.
sense of, like, let's say someone's a Christian, for example, and they think that the Bible stories are the most beautiful thing that they've ever read in their entire life. And because of that, they really want to believe the Bible, and they do, because it's so beautiful. But is that a good reason to believe in the Bible? Would it be better for them, or better in general for perhaps maybe yourself, to believe in something that's truthful rather than believing in something beautiful because you want to believe in it because it's beautiful?
Maybe.
It depends. I don't know. I may be saying that a lot, but it depends on the situation and the person and the conditions.
Can you give an
If you
example?
know what I mean.
I'm
Like if someone
Maybe.
thinks that, yeah, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for I don't really have any Bible stories to throw up.
I've never
Can
read the
someone give
Bible.
me an example? I've never read the Bible too, like either. So like I have no
Maybe
idea about the stories.
maybe it's like something that like happened in the past that like they just
Or like we can talk
they maybe
about
had to
the
face like
basic.
an ugly truth or something, and like I don't know, like something's happened in their past, just like want to believe in beautiful. They just want to get their something to believe in rather than
Yeah,
believing in nothing.
I don't really think they believe in the stories. I can link a religion and theater together very well, I think. Because the English theater um started out actually as a teaching lessons to the poor, like presenting Bible stories. Basically, that was the reason why they started it. Um, and I think that I don't think that they believe in the stories because they are so beautiful. They believe in them because they have a connection. They find a connection with them because they may find uh, uh, they may find a solution for their problems throughout. For them, maybe it's a beautiful story. I don't know. I don't have to know, in my opinion. Um, but I think that they like thinking back to my experience with Christian people, like strict Christian people, um, they always find, they always have, like, whenever they've told me that they read the Bible when they were in their lowest, if I can say so myself, like, if I can say so, um, they always found some stories that were that they could connect to very well and like very deeply. And I don't know, it just gives me an explanation why they can tell us quotes that easily, not just because they go to the church, like they go to church so much, like they get a connection. Like, I don't know what other thing I can say. Like, for
I think
example,
I'm understanding what you're trying to say.
yeah, you buy a hoodie, you really like that hoodie, you're going to keep that hoodie for the next 15 years because you like it. You'll wear it to all of your, I don't know, university exams, or, you know, because you have a
It's
connection to it and you can recall all of your memories with it.
So it's something that they have experienced perhaps for a long period of time, and something that they're really comfortable with and really enjoy, perhaps. Is that a good reason to believe it and think that it's truthful?
For them, yeah. For me, who hasn't experienced any of the stories, or maybe I can't put, like, if there were a story and they could replace themselves with Jesus, or they could replace Jesus with themselves, so they could imagine themselves in that situation, or they have been in that situation, they can connect it really easily and they can believe in it because it has happened to them.
Hmm. Does it make it any more truthful?
For them, yes. For me, not really. If
For
I were to
them,
have a, a very like a story that is so similar to like my story of my life, the story of my life, I may think that it would be more truthful.
let me
Um,
rephrase my question. I think you might have
I think I'm
misunderstood. I'm not.
misunderstanding it.
Let me try. Let me do a do-over here. So let's say Christianity specifically, them having being comfortable and having these personal experiences, perhaps. Does it make it any more factually true that Jesus was killed on the cross and died and then rose, and then that there's a
Hmm.
a factual, or it's factually true that a God exists and oversees everyone and miracles happen, etc., etc.? Does it make it any more
I
factually true?
um
There.
like actually true, no, but more people could believe in it, or like, oh, I have no idea how
As in,
to
what would make
say
it
this.
factually?
It's really hard to talk about these in English.
It's
I'm
okay. I think
kind
you're
of
doing great.
embarrassed because I could be saying the stupidest stuff ever
No,
right
no, no,
now.
no. You're not. When I talk to people about these types of subjects, a lot of times they're left speechless too. So, no worries.
I almost got less speechless. Like, hour.
Yeah, I think he did at one point.
I was.
So,
Uh,
I
It's
guess
a
what...
very difficult question to answer. I
Sure.
maybe to answer it in in my own language, but it would be still pretty hard because it cannot be really explained because it has more sides of it. You can't prove scientifically, what I really believe in mostly, that if it happens, like, yeah, I could believe that Jesus lived, but I don't think that he he was, quote, birthed again, or I don't know, rebirthed. I have no idea
Mhm.
how to explain that, but
Do you think that people can determine that to be true with faith alone?
uh, not really. I can't really um explain that more in depth.
Sure.
It's complicated. It's like talking about like whether death row inmates should be killed or not. Like
Right. Right.
it's very complicated and complex, and it's just
I'm
hard
gonna
to
throw
talk
another.
about.
I'm gonna throw another really hard question at you, if you don't mind, and anyone can answer if they want. But I think we would all agree. I don't want to speak for anyone. If anyone feels differently, feel free to say so. But let's say that everyone believes that everyone in the world should be able to believe whatever they want. That's a human right, freedom of religion, right? I think most of us can get behind that.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
aside from that, do you think that us as human beings should strive to believe things that are truthful?
What do you mean by strive? Just so I
Strive
can clear
like
things up.
like have a goal to believe only things that are truthful.
No, I don't think. I don't think everyone should strive for that, as it would destroy a lot of people's belief systems. And I think when people's belief systems come crashing down, their I don't know, like their psyche gets badly damaged, and they'll be better off believing their lies.
Interesting. Can I propose an example? Like, let's say that someone is involved in LDS, the Later Day Saints. It's a form of Christianity. And let's say they were missionaries going around, they travel all around the world and preach Christianity, specifically the LDS church. Let's say one day they talk to me, let's say, and we talk for a great time, and we determined that they were only using faith to come to the conclusion that Christianity is real, that Jesus is real, God is real. And they determined that they don't really have a good reason to believe in that. You think that their psyche would be damaged and they would suffer as a human being because of that?
Yeah, I think they'd go through some sort of identity crisis. They wouldn't know where they belong. The world they
They
viewed is
wouldn't really
suddenly
know what to
crashing
believe
down.
in if they realized that all their faith laid into a bit just one big lie. If it were to happen or not be true, and they figured it
Sure.
out.
Do you think that someone could lose their faith but not go through an identity crisis? Or maybe perhaps come out the other side and actually be a happier person in the end?
Yes.
Possible.
Yeah, I think so. but I think it's more likely that there will be, or almost, it depends how strong their faith is. Both. If they're
I get.
firmly adamant in their mind that is the factual truth, in their mind that is, then when that comes crashing down, it would be quite a shock to them.
I'd like to propose another example here. So you talked about the strength of the faith, and it sounds like you're saying that the stronger the faith, the harder the crash, and that might harm them more. But on the other side of that coin, do you think having a faith in something might be harmful in its own? I guess
yeah.
that wasn't... Okay, so you think it might be. So let's say someone has a strong belief in it. The religion doesn't really matter, but let's say they have a very extreme view of this religion, and because of it, they want to, let's say, bomb a building or something. And they really do believe that they're doing the right thing, that they're appeasing perhaps a god or something. And obviously, I mean, not obviously, I guess, but that's like their truth. But I think we would agree that that probably isn't the truth. Do you think that they should change their views and believe in something that's more truthful?
Should they change the more truthful? I would say, I would quote that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and obviously they think they're intending good by it, as I assume they think they're doing what their God wants them to do. But do-gooding is a form of sin in itself. There's no such thing as, I don't know, a good deed in a way. Anything you do to try and make someone else feel good, in a sense, is going to be making you feel good, and you're doing it in a selfish sort of way. And should they change sorry, I've strayed from the question completely. What is your question again?
I guess my question was, for those people who intend to do harm based on their beliefs, do you think that they should believe in only truthful things rather than their very radical current beliefs?
Whether they should or shouldn't, I guess, is it depends what they want to get out of changing, what they're aiming for. If they're aiming for happiness, then they should probably change, as I don't think doing a load of going around and trying to do good deeds in their mind isn't going to bring them happiness. So yeah, they should or shouldn't change depending on what they're striving to achieve.
Interesting.
If they're, I don't know, if they want to kill people, then I guess it's what they should be doing, right? That's their aim, then they're achieving their aim.
That is an interesting perspective. Let me ask the question a little bit differently. For the better of the world, let's say, do you think that they should believe in something truthful?
For the better of the world. What's the better of the world?
For the better of humanity. How about that?
Okay. Then making more people happy, or making what is the better of humanity still? It's
how
hard
about
to say.
How about for less suffering?
For less suffering. Okay. Can get behind that.
Okay. And so that you would say that for less suffering, it would be better for those people to believe in something more truthful, correct?
if those people,
And these were the people who were like wanting to bomb buildings and harm people, that kind of thing.
I guess it comes down to a debate between ignorance is bliss or going for enlightenment. At least that's what I'm viewing it as at the moment. As in, would you
Yeah.
be happier living in your lies, getting blissful ignorance, or would you be better knowing everything with enlightenment and finding the truth?
And I guess
I don't
I'm
know.
not even necessarily asking from the perspective of their happiness, which I think that's valid too. I think their happiness is important. But I was even asking just for happiness and, suffering from all people in the world, not necessarily theirs alone. Like, obviously, their actions affect others.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose there probably would be less overall suffering if they changed their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if they
My
change their
answer is
beliefs,
yes.
if they believed in something more truthful, they likely would not be harming others. And that would be probably better for, at least some people, whoever they were planning on harming. Do you think that's different than any other? Do you think that should be changed? But then let's go back to my example of the Mormons and the LDS Church. Do you think that they should continue their beliefs, even though perhaps, maybe they are, maybe they're not harming anyone? But do you think it would be better overall for the entire people of the earth for them to believe in something truthful or to hold on to their beliefs based on their faith?
What would the truthful belief be?
Whatever that they determine with evidence rather than just faith alone, blind faith.
I suppose faith and truth can go hand in hand, as in you can still believe in science while being a Mormon or being religious.
Absolutely. But what if they are harming someone? Let's say they are. There's a lot of wild things in the Bible, and I don't want to say that Mormons or LDS Church is involved in this. Maybe I should use a different example. But in the past, there has been a lot of harm done to the homosexual community because of the things that are in the Bible. There's been I'll use conversion therapy as an example. That is incredibly damning to somebody's psychiatric, right? Or I don't know if I'm using the right word there, but the suicide rates of LGBT youth is just kind of through the roof compared to straight counterparts, or even in adults. It's obviously much higher. And
it doesn't have to, like, people who are and who have been against the LGBTQ plus community are not always Christian believers.
correct.
Because I have experienced it a lot, and I've had debates with them explaining them how it's not unnatural, and they shouldn't have told me that I have to be burned because and like they don't believe in Jesus. That's the thing, but they think that biologically the like the same sexes can't be connected. Like they can't have a connection. They think that, and they think that um, that men should be men, women should be women, and they should be with each other, and that's what, like, especially Hungary, the country where I live, believes, and almost every child is born and raised in that and with that belief. Because even throughout COVID, in April or May, in Hungary, they've banned changing sex on your ID card, because they think if you're trans, if you're a trans guy, you're still a woman to them. Also, they've banned adoption or same-sex marriages or same-sex couples, because they think that a child should only be raised by a man and a woman, because the man is the father of the child and the woman is the mom of the child. And they are also planning to ban gay flags, gay representation, and abortions too. So I've experienced a lot of it, and it's not, mostly it's not because of Christian beliefs. It's just because they are, they don't have their research. They are, I don't know the word.
They're forming an opinion based on perhaps a very quick and personal experience they may have had.
Yes.
Anecdotal, I think would be the word.
Yeah, they're forming opinions very quickly without having any knowledge or having not done any research on the topic, because I don't remember me being homophobic. I've always felt that I wasn't only attracted to one gender, so I haven't been so judgmental of stuff. But, like, for example, my significant other was a little bit skeptical about what is what, because he wasn't educated on the topic, and I think it would be important to be educated, or you mean know even the terms, and then you can judge. I mean, it's like your parents will yell at you because you got an F. They'll ask you, why did you get an F? If you tell them that you didn't study, obviously they are going to ground you. But if you tell them, I don't think that this could happen all the time, but you tell them that I've studied a lot, but it's just hard for me, then, you know, they can change their opinion and not be so strict, because you can see that you're suffering. Not specifically suffering, but
having a difficult time.
You're having a hard
learn
time
and
learning that subject. Maybe
Yeah.
Sorry if this
I
mic is bad. I had to switch.
That's okay. You're good.
okay. I don't know if
So
I switched the topic, but
you may have a little bit, but
sorry.
that's quite all right. I think your overall point was that you don't necessarily have to be Christian to hold an opinion that the LGBT plus community might be, you to use your words, unnatural. And
I think it's mostly just being uneducated.
okay, perhaps they haven't taken in all the evidence. Maybe they're just using a very limited anecdotal experience to come to that conclusion. And I guess going back to what we were originally talking about, which was, would it be better overall for the people of the earth, for everyone to believe in things that are truthful rather than having beliefs just based on faith? I guess with that example, perhaps it would be better if people believed in things that, they determined were truth, based off good ways to determine the truth, rather than faith alone or weak anecdotal experiences. Does anyone disagree with that? Is there a... What do you think, Yossarian?
Would you be able to repeat that? Sorry.
Okay, no
Just for
problem.
clarity.
Sure.
I struggle to keep
So,
up something.
so you earlier said it would probably be a bad thing if people lost their faith and and went down a path of only believing in things that were truthful. You thought it might be psychologically damning. But then,
Yeah, I think so.
okay.
I think so.
And then, I guess, what about this example that me and Ella, right? Ella? Is that correct?
Yep.
Ella, yep. That Ella we're talking about with the LGBT plus community and people coming to conclusions that it's unnatural, etc., based on possibly faith, their religion, or maybe perhaps just based off their lack of education and anecdotal experiences. Do you think that it would be good for them to rather examine those beliefs and perhaps try to find something truthful rather than what they're currently believing?
Would it be good for you? Potentially, in the very long-term sense, if they're able to fully overcome their beliefs. It depends if they're shattered by an outside force or not. I don't think anyone should be going out trying to change other people's beliefs. But
So,
in the, as in, is it good for the person to change their beliefs? It would be better for the people they're discriminating against, definitely. But would it be better for the person who's doing the discriminating? I'm not so sure. They're probably quite
Interesting.
happy in their ways of discriminating.
All right, see ya, Ella. Hope to talk to you again.
Or
It was nice talking to you. If you want to talk again, just DM me.
Sure, we'll do. Thank you so
Have
much.
a good one. Bye.
take
Bye.
care.
Alright, see ya.
So, you don't think that people should go out and try to dismantle people's beliefs, and I understand that. I don't think anyone should go about it in a crude way, for certain. What about what I'm doing?
Same sense as the opposite. I believe also that you shouldn't go out and try and convert him. You also shouldn't try and deconvert him.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, I guess Dragon left too. I guess that's what he said. I didn't quite hear him. But, so my question is, so I'm going out and challenging people's beliefs. I'm asking them to think critically about them, kind of like what I've done here today. And do you think what I'm doing is harmful? Do you think it's something that's bad to challenge people and have them think deeply?
I personally don't think it's bad. You've actually opened my eyes to a few things
Awesome.
that
I'm
I
glad.
didn't even know that I believed, but I did.
I'm so glad I was able to help you. What about you, Yossarian? Do you think it's bad that I'm doing this?
No, it's definitely not bad.
Okay.
I wouldn't say you're like what I would describe as shattering anyone's beliefs. Just talking about them.
Do you think that it could, though? Do you think I could talk to someone and have their beliefs completely disappear?
Potentially. Who's to say? But you could talk to someone about something seemingly insignificant and shatter their beliefs at the same time. So
I mean, all you're doing is asking about somebody's beliefs on what they believe in and getting a better understanding of. And not only that, but you're also asking the important questions, the ones that really dig deep, the ones that, are supposedly the main ones that would really be a big change in, not necessarily in the conversation, but within that range of their beliefs, like to really, not necessarily to be proven for their belief to be true, but for them to like get a different perspective on it. I guess I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that what I'm doing is trying to just gently question the belief without pushing any other belief onto them, to just have them come to their own conclusion. Is that what you're saying?
You're helping them realize more about their belief than they think about it.
So, for example, I am an atheist. I don't believe in God or a higher power. I am open to changing my mind on that belief if I were to find someone who had a good reason to believe that and had a good way to determine whether or not there was a higher power, and they determined that there was. I'd be open to adjusting my position. But I guess that's kind of beside the point I'm making. But I'm not trying to push anyone necessarily to atheism. I'm not trying to push that on anyone. I'm just trying to question why people have their beliefs and whether they came to conclusions for a valid reason, and what their methodology was to determine that, and if that method was a reliable method.
Yeah, you don't seem to be preaching to anyone about anything. You're just opening dialogue.
You're not necessarily trying to change anybody's mind or beliefs.
I try to take as neutral as a position as possible, and I think that's the best way to have a really open dialogue. And I guess the question I have for Yossarian is that you didn't say that what I was doing was wrong, and I'm not saying that you thought that, but you seem to say previously that if a person lets go of a belief that they had, that might be really shattering and detrimental to them. Not your exact words, but you seem to imply that. You can tell me if that was... Yeah, okay. And based off what I've said, I guess, do you think that we as human beings of the world, do you think we should be having conversations like we've been having right now, all four of us originally?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't see anything negative coming from this. There's no like going out to do good deeds. Everyone's just relaxing and talking.
Yeah.
I'm literally relaxed. I'm literally laying in bed and just having a good deep conversation.
Yeah, I'd say
In
this is.
my opinion, it's a good conversation.
It would be good if everyone had conversations like this.
Yeah.
Good. So I guess perhaps I misunderstood, but I get maybe is your position on somebody losing their faith, maybe you've kind of don't really think that would be such a bad thing after all, or do you still think that?
Someone losing their faith. It depends what they have faith in and what the faith is about exactly, but generally I think they could become quite an unstable person, potentially, if they lose
So
their faith, depending how deep rooted.
it's kind of circumstantial.
Yeah, I'd say it's
Okay.
circumstantial. And it
And
depends if if they come about, if they're losing their faith themselves, or if they're losing their faith from an outside influence, or like a conscious outside influence.
So if it's something kind of internal that they're determining themselves, it's less likely for them to go down a path that might be detrimental.
I honestly don't know. I think this is getting too much into psychology for me, which I have
Sure.
very little understanding of.
No problem. No problem at all.
Yeah, I couldn't say. I've not read much about people losing faith from outside or inside.
Sure. And I guess just one thing that I do want to add, if I'm ever talking with someone and perhaps they lost a loved one and they really have a faith that they're in heaven watching over them, or when that person dies that they'll see that loved one again, that's usually a conversation where I'm very hesitant to proceed, just because something like that could really move them into a deep depression if they lost that faith and come to a conclusion that they lost that person forever. That can be a dangerous situation, and I wouldn't want to put that person into like suicidal thoughts or anything. So I like to tread water very, very carefully around people in those circumstances. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not something you want to go out trying to throw people off.
Real quick, if y'all hear me sniffling, I promise you I'm not crying. I have like really bad allergies, right?
No worries.
There are like a lot of touchy subjects for me to go over though. Like on how you were explaining just now. But again, how I said like earlier before anyone joined the chat, that I try to live in the here and now, not focus on the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too touchy on the subjects anymore. Because I used to be like really religious,
Mm-hmm.
believing in God and everything in the Bible, but I never really read the Bible. I just went to church like every day and everything. And I guess I just like tread away from that path over the years.
Sure. And that's okay.
Yeah.
As our conversation comes to a natural end, well, alright, neighbours, I'm probably gonna disconnect and head off for a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I think we should put a bow on this conversation. I only got a few more minutes anyways before I would have had to bounce, so I guess I'll see if I talk
I've
to you
got
guys in
my
the
bed,
future.
Nice
Alrighty.
talking.
Nice talking to you guys.
Best of luck out there in the world.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, see ya.
See ya.